Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed.
Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going.
It's Tuesday.
Oh my goodness. It's Tuesday. We're so glad you're here. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. Heck of a way to start out. All right, we're killing it. Here we go.
All right. So today is election day. If you didn't vote early, get out there and vote today. Please, 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 please. It doesn't matter for whom you vote, just that you exercise your right to do so.
Agreed.
Welcome to CK and GK. We are the how-to show that tells you what we had to learn the hard way. As always, my co-host is Caitlin, and today is her National Day. It is Parents as Teachers Day.
That should be your National Day. I love it. Oh my gosh, how funny. Well, you and your Amazon account. Here we go. I have a joke. I'm going to say it. Here it is. And that's Jenny, and her Amazon account is blocked because she likes to treat herself just like Donna Beagle. Treat yourself.
New perfume?
Yay!
Treat yourself. Spa treatment? Treat yourself.
Fine leather goods.
Fine leather goods. I forgot about that. Yeah.
That one's a good one. The other one I really love, what she says is when Leslie gives her the Christmas gift, that's the robe, and it's like a silk robe with like jaguar print on it or something, and it has pink feather cuffs, and on the back in pink rhinestones it says, "You can get it."
Oh my gosh. Nice.
You can get it. I love it. It made me laugh so hard when she did that. I actually just gave a presentation at work, and it was just for my colleagues, so it didn't have to be like the most serious thing ever, and I put Donna Beagle all in
That's
it,
hilarious.
including the "You can get it" part.
That is so
I love
funny.
it. So good. Yeah.
All right.
All right, do you want to start circle time?
Yes. Okay. So sit down on the rug and sit crisscross
Okay.
applesauce and be ready to share.
Mm-hmm.
I
Ready.
am going to start us off with talking a little bit about what's going on in the world of sports. Congratulations to our new World Series winners. And since we are recording before it's actually official, I will say the Philadelphia Phillies or the Houston Astros. Great job, either one.
That's hysterical. Well done, team. Go team.
Right. I thought
Go
about
sports.
recording it separately and then just plugging it in. So it would say
No, that's too much.
Philadelphia Phillies, Houston Astros.
How awkward. No, we can't do that. And that's too much work. Like,
Right.
no. Finding that exact, like, the perfect spot to plug that in. No, we're not doing that.
But I'm excited to see what happens. We still, at the time of this recording, still have 2 games left in the series. And Houston is leading. But again, like by the time this episode drops, we'll already have a champion.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not what I'm here to talk about. I want to talk about Pierre Duvon Ramirez. Okay.
I do not know who this person is.
Ramirez is from Bogota, and he is a paralyzed marathoner. And he's paralyzed because he was serving in the military in Colombia and was helping fight all of the nastiness of drugs that was happening in the 90s, or maybe still. And his motor convoy ran over a bomb that was set up by the drug cartel.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And he uses his organization that he's a part of called Achilles International to help people with different abilities be able to run in long distance races. His goal,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
isn't that cool? His goal is to run
Mhm.
all 6 world marathon majors, and he's actually going to be in the New York City Marathon on Sunday, which, again, was 2 days ago.
Well, yeah. That's so
Isn't that
awesome.
interesting?
He wants to be in all of them. That's so, and it's hard. You have to
Yeah,
qualify
and
for
he's
those.
46 years old. It's not like, he's 20.
Oh, you hit a certain age. I mean, I'm sure, certainly there. I'm sure you are too. But where like you sleep wrong,
Right.
and you're like, oh, and you're recovering for like 3 weeks. Oh yeah, awful. Well, that's really cool. I cannot wait to find out what actually happens. You'll have to give us an update because I am very excited about this.
Yeah, I thought it was a really
Amazing.
interesting story.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have water cooler chat, but it's drama. Are you ready?
Yes.
We're gonna talk about the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
Girl, this is such a mess.
They're like a
This
basketball team, right?
Yeah. Yes. They are a basketball team. Nets as in basketball.
Oh,
yes.
I see it. I see it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So here's the deal. A lot of drama gone down in the past couple weeks with them. The other day, it would have been about a week ago now, for those of us who are listening, but they released their coach. So Steve Nash, the Steve Nash of basketball fame. Steve Nash.
Yeah. I know that name.
And also he's sung about it. Well, you probably know about him in that Nelly Furtado song. It was that Nelly Furtado and Timbaland song where she says game MVP like Steve Nash. She's talking about him. Anyway, he is now former coach Steve Nash of the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
Because he was released. So I don't know the whole story about this. I just know that there's drama, but I can say that Kevin Durant, who is one of the stars of the Brooklyn Nets, gave the team an ultimatum to fire Nash over the summer or trade Kevin Durant. So I guess he got his wish.
Oh, wow.
Here's where it gets even crazier, right? Nash's replacement, the potential replacement for the head coach position, is former Boston Celtics head coach Ime Udoka, which his name has come up recently because he was suspended from the Celtics before the season started, yes, for, quote, crude language, and also for having an inappropriate relationship, read affair, with a staffer. But the staffer is rumored to be a minority owner of the team's wife.
Oh my gosh, this is drama.
It is a soap opera,
I was
right?
just going to say, this sounds like a daytime television show.
Because it is. Right? It is. There's more, though. So there's more going on in the Nets organization. Kyrie Irving, who we've actually brought up on this show before. And I talked about him because he is the same Kyrie Irving who refused to get a COVID vaccine last year.
Oh, yeah, and he couldn't play.
Before the season started. He had to sit out every single one of his team's home games because the policy in New York City is that you have to be vaccinated in an indoor space, or it was, I don't know if it still is now, but there was that policy in place. And since he refused to get the vaccine, he couldn't play. So his team was like left high and dry without him because of that. So he could only play the away games, right? So it's the same dude, right? So this isn't funny. This is actually really horrible. And it's just so much, like, what a mess. I'm laughing at the mess. He tweeted recently, like just maybe a week or 10 days ago, a link to a, quote, documentary, okay, based on a book that has been criticized for being incredibly anti-Semitic and filled with hate speech.
No.
By various civil rights groups. And then he defended the tweet.
No, he didn't.
All right, so yes, he did. He doubled down. He has refused to say outright that he has no anti-Semitic beliefs. He's refusing to acknowledge that the content of the film and of the book is hateful. On November 3rd, which was last Thursday, the Nets suspended Kyrie Irving for, quote, at least 5 games without pay.
Wow.
Yeah. Because he refused to condemn anti-Semitism and denounce the content of the film. Now, he has said publicly something like, quote, "I can't be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from, and I respect all walks of life. I embrace all walks of life."
What does this even mean?
But that's right. That's not an apology, and it's not a condemnation, right? Like, it's not either of those things, which is what they're asking him to do. So the Nets and Kyrie Irving both committed to a $500,000 donation to the Anti-Defamation League.
Good.
Right? Sounds great. Well, when he is refusing to condemn anti-Semitism, the Anti-Defamation League is like, listen, you have work to do. We're going to refuse your donation. So it sounds like they didn't refuse the Nets donation, but they did refuse Irving's donation.
Wow.
So here's my hot take on this situation.
Go. Tell us.
I think it took too long for the Nets to suspend him. I think the NBA should have stepped in and suspended him. I think there was a delay in between. I guess they were like trying to reason with him and like having those talks behind closed doors is how they were saying it. But honestly, like, no, this kind of stuff is, yes, free speech and all that kind of stuff. But listen, you can't go around promoting hate speech, especially in a position when other people are looking to you for the things that you do. That was part of why I had a problem with the whole COVID vaccine thing, right? It's like, you are a model for other people to behave as such. So you need to think about that when you tweet out stuff that's anti-Semitic. Like, you can't do things like that. It's not appropriate. It's not acceptable. Anyway, Charles Barkley agrees with me. He was like, NBA waited too long. They should have stepped in. So that's my hot take. Also, yeah, well, I'm mostly just, I can't even believe all that the Nets are dealing with right now, and I don't envy their GM at all, but I'm just annoyed that this is even a thing. Why are we having these sorts of conversations right now? There shouldn't even be a platform for speech that is anti-Semitic and filled with hate towards a certain group of people. It's disgusting. That's my other hot take. Probably not too hot. Probably people agree with me. I hope they do. Let's put it that way. I hope they agree with me. Anyway, today's election day. Think about that. Anyway, yay. So, do you have any obsessions right now? We're going to move on from the crazy drama of the Nets.
I struggled this week with coming up with something that I was obsessed with. But I will tell you, we have recently discovered Billy Strings.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. He's Billy Strings.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He is, or he's part of a group. He's the singer of and lead guitarist of this band that is bluegrass jam band.
What's the name of the band?
Billy Strings.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was, okay.
And
cool.
So it's Jamgrass, which
Nice.
I never thought I would be into, but the music is great. And
that's
this
awesome.
guy did a 3-night Halloween concert that was like, you could go see in person or live stream. And there's a different theme every year. So like last year was Wizard of Oz. This year it was Lord of the Rings. And so each concert followed one of the 3 movies. And it was so funny and so good. So if you are familiar with the movies and you want to expose yourself to a new type of music, I would definitely tell you to go out there and find the live streams of these concerts because it was really fun to watch.
That's awesome. Anytime there's like fun music, I'm totally down.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of that, okay?
Okay.
Because I have been listening to very fun music recently. We've talked about this, some of the music made me cry. Thanks, Lisa.
Right.
But I have been listening to some fun stuff, and one of the reasons that I'm listening to fun stuff is I found she's like going all over the place on TikTok right now, but her name on TikTok is Chastity Mitchell 19, and what she's doing is standing in front of her bathroom mirror, like getting ready for bed or doing her hair or whatever. But she's like mouthing, lip syncing, and acting out nostalgic hip hop songs and rap songs, right? So
she's
one
me.
of them that she's all of us,
right?
She is, you know what's so funny is actually when I first saw her, I was like, this is my sister. And I immediately sent it to my sister and I was like, this is you. You do this. And she's like, yeah, I just wouldn't do it in front of the camera because I'm too shy. And I was like, I get that. But like, this is what I picture you doing in your bathroom when you're getting ready for the day. Like, this is what you're doing. So the other day, I find one of these and it's her, I think it was her doing Nelly's Shake Your Tail Feather, and I could not stop listening. So like the rest of the day, all of Nelly was the only thing I could listen to, like hyperfixation Nelly, right? And by the way, don't come for me. I know that Nelly is not it's Murphy Lee, P. Diddy, and Nelly who do that.
Yeah, come on.
And I know it's on Murphy Lee's. I know it's on Murphy Lee's album too. So I'm aware. I know my trivia there, but it is just so much fun to listen to the song and watch her like acting it out. Like one of them she did was Usher's "Yeah," so she's like talking and then there's all the background stuff and she'll like look over and be like, yeah, and it's hilarious. Go look up Chastity Mitchell 19. She's hysterical. So that's been really fun. The other thing that I'm kind of obsessed with right now in this moment today, my other hyperfixation, is my TikTok is filled with Hayley Williams of Paramore right now. Filled.
Really?
And Paramore has been around for a while.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, did you take a time machine?
Right, I did. Well, yes, Nelly, yes. So clearly, right? I don't think there was a single like kid in like my sophomore year of high school who didn't have that album, right? Like the Nelly album, I mean.
Or a Band-Aid on their face?
Paramore, no, we couldn't do that because I was against dress code. But I'm sure that people did when they had the time outside of school, or they had a grill. Right. So like a fake.
Yeah, I was gonna say like made out of a gun wrapper.
The foil.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like I can't stop singing like the FSU war chant at the beginning of Shake Your Tail Feather, where he's like, no, you know that part. I love it. Anyway, so I'm gonna put the YouTube video in our blog post because everybody needs to watch it again. But Paramore was here at ACO just a few weeks ago, and people are just now realizing like how amazing Hayley Williams of Paramore is. Like, she grew up in Mississippi. Her next door neighbor was a now famous basketball player whose name is escaping me at the moment, but he like taught her how to crip walk and stuff, so she can like do all of these really fun dances, and she's doing them on stage on beat, and people are like, oh my God, Hayley Williams, she can dance, she can sing. And I'm like, yeah. Like, some of us fake emo kids have been listening to her since 2008. Like, where have you guys been? But also, it's making me happy because she's getting accolades on TikTok, which is, like, you know, the dream. And also, like, it's so fun to listen to it all again. So today, my hyperfixation music was Paramore.
Nice.
Like, the This Is Paramore on Spotify list. Those are my obsessions right now. Apparently, music from 15 years ago or further back. That's not just Third Eye Blind. Anyway, got any good ones?
Okay, so I have a great gem for you. And I have a friend who is in the process of buying a house. And
okay, that's a very stressful process.
Yes.
Do not.
And right now, it's extremely stressful, right? Because for those of you who don't know, like, we're based in Austin, and the Austin market has slowed down a little bit, but it's still extremely difficult to get a house. Mm-hmm. And
at least in town,
right.
Like, you can get them outside of town, but then you're facing a 45-minute commute.
Right. She wants to have Austin on her envelopes. And she's a teacher. And she said, you know, I really wish that I could just find a partner that would buy this house with me. And I don't want to be in a relationship with them. I don't want to get married. I just want someone to help me purchase this house, be a co-signer, so that we have more income, so that we have more options. And so,
sure, that makes sense.
Right. So we decided we're going to start a new dating app. It's called Escrow Beau. And basically, you just, instead of telling your life story and what you're interested in, you put your credit score, your income, how many bedrooms you're looking for, and then you guys just like connect and, you know, swipe right if you want to buy a house.
Like these are my must-haves, like must-have pantry, must-have two.
Right.
Right,
Like
must-have
laundry room upstairs,
storage.
like those kinds of things.
Right. That's hysterical. Built-in shelving's bonus.
Right.
Totally.
And there's
it.
like no pictures
That's
of you as a person, just pictures of houses you like.
Sorry, she's mid-century modern.
Right.
Swipe the other way. I don't know which one it is. Swipe
I don't either.
I don't have.
Yeah. But anyhow.
Swipe the way that we don't like. Left? Right?
Sure.
Someone's screaming.
Well, in my mind, if you're swiping right, like right is right.
That makes sense. I don't know.
But anyway, like escrow bow.
I can hear the screams. People are coming at us right now, like screaming, like, "No, you idiot! It's this one."
Doesn't matter.
We don't know. Yeah, it's fine. All right. Well, I like that idea. Smart escrow bow. I'm into it. So mine's definitely a lot more crass, but if you're a parent, you understand you do not have a private moment. Like you just don't have them, right? And that includes anytime you're in the bathroom. And for the most part, my child is good about leaving me alone in the bathroom. However, if there's a shower going, it doesn't matter. There's entry. There's coming in. Okay, so Sam decided that he was going to draw pictures, like every kid does, right, on the inside of the glass.
Oh, right.
But yeah. He drew my butt, and when he drew my butt, I told him it looks like a Shel Silverstein picture, which is like not super flattering.
Right, because the picture I immediately go to is that girl trying to eat a whale.
Oh no! I'm thinking of the guy who's like standing there. He's got a suit, like jacket on, and a tie, and a hat, and socks and shoes, but no pants.
Right.
Like that's the one I went to. Yeah. So he drew my butt in the shower. I told him it looked like Shel Silverstein, and then he goes, "It looks like your." Or I said, "It looks like your butt. Like it's little. It looks like yours." And he goes, "Well, it." He was, well. Let me put it this way. He extends the line of the crack in the middle and goes, "Well, my crack isn't that big, so it has to be your butt."
OMG.
I was like, I'm dying. Like,
at least he didn't like make the cheeks bigger or something.
No, just the crack up the middle. So like a tiny little like tush with a giant crack up the middle.
Oh my god.
It looked like a 3, but like turned on its side with the line straight up the middle. It was hysterical. I could not stop laughing. It took me like an easy 5 or 10 minutes to recover after that one.
That is funny.
Because, I mean, I just got roasted. The Shel Silverstein giant butt crack. So, that's my child right there. There you go.
Gotta love it.
All right. So, we have a promo from our friends at Last Comic Shop, and we will be back right after this.
Hey, welcome to the Last Comic Shop Podcast!
A comic book podcast that actually talks about comics.
Yep, each week we open the shop up and read and discuss a comic.
Sometimes we pair that up with comic book movies or TV shows.
Or not, lots of times it's just comic books and sound effects.
Oh, yes, definitely lots of sound effects.
So tune in on all the major podcasting platforms to the Last Comic Shop Podcast. Or check out our library of evergreen shows at www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com.
Okay, y'all. I told you that it is an election day. And again, if you have not early voted, go vote now. Like, we're a podcast. We're recorded. You can listen to us anytime. Go get in that line and vote before the polls close at 7.
And if the line is long, you have us in your ears to entertain you.
Oh, see? There you go. There you
See
go.
how that
Yeah.
works?
Okay.
Yeah.
But we have some interesting facts about our great nation to entertain you or break up the conversations tomorrow when you are talking about how the person that you wanted to win did not, or the person that you wanted to win did. We can.
Right. This is like, think like Jerry Maguire, like, did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds kind of content where you can just interject it whenever you feel like throwing it out there to ease the tension, if you will.
Here we go. The first one is interesting to me. Maybe not interesting to anyone else, but you can pretend.
Okay.
I did not know what the Space Force did. I was like, why do we even have Space Force? I don't think that we're in danger of having a space war. Well, one of the very interesting roles of the Space Force is they own and maintain the GPS system for the whole world.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
I thought that was the Air Force. The Space Force does
The
it?
Space Force is a division of the Air Force.
Oh, there it is. Okay, that's pretty cool.
So that's a
that
fun
makes
little interesting fact. I don't have a lot of detail on it. I'm not actually that interested in it, but I am interested enough to say, hey, that's what Space Force does. Take care of GPS.
Right. Well, isn't that what's the thing that monitors like all of the weather? Is it NORAD? They're based in Colorado.
True story.
And so is the Air Force. So that makes sense.
They also track Santa.
They do track Santa every year. Yeah. Okay. I have one about the oldest city in the United States. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's Jamestown, Virginia. No, it's not. 16. Do you know the song in Pocahontas? Have you heard that?
Okay, so you know that like
1607.
Yeah, I haven't seen Pocahontas in I don't know 20 years.
Well, you clearly didn't get forced to watch it over and over again by your little sisters then, did
No.
you? No. But I know it. I know the song and also, the history teacher. So 1607, Jamestown, Virginia colony. They sail across the ocean and they form Jamestown in honor of King James I. Anyway, it's not the oldest city in the United States. It's the oldest English settlement in the United States, but actually the oldest city in the United States is St. Augustine, Florida, which was part of the area claimed by Spain by Ponce de Leon in 1513. So, yeah, and the United States took control over that Florida territory in a trade with Spain. And if you were in my Texas history class listening right now, you already know that. So well done.
Okay, so that makes me think of Roanoke Island. You know about Roanoke?
Yes, I do know about Roanoke.
Like, this is the lost colony. It's that settlement that, like, completely disappeared in, like, 1590 or something. They set up this settlement. They didn't have enough supplies, so somebody left to go get more supplies, go back to England, whatever. They came back, and the whole colony is gone, except some spooky word carved into a tree. It was like Croatoa or something.
Yeah, it was weird, and I don't remember the word exactly, but it does sound familiar.
I know it's not
like
Sokotoa because that's math.
It is not Sokotoa. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that in forever. Oh man. Okay, also I have to add this. While we're at it, Christopher Columbus did not ever step on the continent of North America, and so if you think that he did, you are wrong. He did all of his damage in the Caribbean islands and Central and South America.
He did all his damage. That's great.
He did. That's what it was. For real. So anyway, he never set foot on North America's continent. So if you're advocating for him,
well, and do you know how Columbus Day was started?
I don't know
okay,
how Columbus
so
Day
this is
started.
a really interesting story. The reason that Columbus Day happened was there were a lot of Italian Americans who wanted to have a holiday that honored their culture. And so they said, hey, Christopher Columbus is from Italy and he, quote unquote, discovered America. So what if we had a holiday in his honor? And so there was like this big push to have an Italian holiday. And that's how they came up with Christopher Columbus, because there weren't that many Italian Americans at this time from which to choose to honor. So it's not even like they actually believed that Christopher Columbus was here or that like he's worth celebrating. It was Italian Americans wanted something to promote their own culture and celebrate their heritage.
Being in America.
Right.
Okay. I'm okay.
It was...
But Columbus Day isn't celebrated where Christopher Columbus
went. Right. And
probably for good reason.
Well, yeah. And that's the whole thing is like, it was never even about Columbus. It was about Italian Americans wanting a holiday so that people would learn and love and appreciate the Italian American story. They just happened to pick a bad choice.
Yeah, I'm all for celebrating the Italian-American story. I just, yeah.
So I have another one for us.
Okay.
Our current flag with the 50 stars was actually designed by a 17-year-old as part of a school project.
I've heard this story.
His name is Robert Heff, and he did it in 1958. He was on good assumption that Alaska and Hawaii would soon be granted statehood and that we would have 50 states. And his teacher gave him a B+ on the project. Oh, excuse me, a B- on the project. Okay. Well, then, so then he submits his flag design to the White House, gets a personal phone call from President Eisenhower who says, we are going to choose your flag to represent our country. And then the teacher raised the grade to A.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. Your student gets a call from the president. You have to. Oh,
wouldn't you love to be that 17-year-old kid talking to the president and be like, oh, and by the way, my teacher gave me a B- on this.
Oh, how embarrassing for the teacher.
Yes.
That's something I would have
that's
done.
her legacy.
Like, yeah, not your best effort. B-. And then you turn around and, oh, man. He didn't meet the terms of the rubric, so I had to give him a B-. Maybe his write-up was terrible.
Or his coloring was messy.
Right. It's possible.
You were supposed to use colored pencils and you used crayon.
All right, so we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th. Yes? Do you know why we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th?
I thought that's when the Declaration of Independence was signed.
No, it's when it was signed, yes. We officially declared independence on July 2nd.
Wait, what?
1776. Yeah. The document was actually created on July 2nd, and the day that it was signed by John Hancock is July 4th, and that's why we celebrate it on July 4th and not July 2nd. So there you go.
Leave it to Americans to be like, it's fine, we'll get the paperwork done later.
It sounds very much like me. It's like, all right, I know what to do. Just
I'll document it after the fact. It's fine. I even said that to Caitlin today. I was like, look, I'll fill out the show notes after we talk.
She really did do that. It's funny. But yeah, John Hancock was the first person to sign the Declaration of Independence. It happened on July 4th. That's the reason that we celebrate on the 4th. But the document itself was written 2 days before.
That's hilarious.
So there you go. Yep.
I am going to talk about the very famous song from the Hamilton musical, The Election of 1800. It's also my favorite song in the show.
Do it.
It's 1800, ladies, tell your husbands, vote for Burr. Anyway, I need to talk about this because it is so interesting. Mm-hmm. All right, so John Adams, who was America's first vice president, was president at this time, okay? And he was running for re-election, and he had what we call the incumbency advantage, right? Like, this means that if you are already in office, it is more likely that you are going to win than someone who is not currently serving. But, as the song said, he's in traction. He just wasn't doing anything and had a very low approval rating across the country. So his current vice president, Thomas Jefferson, who was his political opponent, was running for president. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the person who earns the most votes at this time was elected president, and the person who got the second most votes was elected vice president. Can you imagine having to run a whole country with the person that you ran against?
Here's the thing. I think that would be really hard. Especially with the political climate that we're in currently.
Oh, dude.
But I also feel like, don't you feel like there's a lot that you can get accomplished that way because there's a requirement to compromise on things? You have to be able to meet in the middle if that's your situation.
Oh, I am not that mature.
You have to.
I am not that mature. I would.
You know I am.
Oh, you know I'd be harboring grudges the whole time.
The whole time. Yes. That said, I'm just saying, I can see how this would really lead to some actual progress being made because you are forced to reason with the person who you ran
Right,
against.
right. I wouldn't want to be caught dead in a room with them. Anyway, Jefferson is running against Adams, but like Adams is out. Like everybody knows he's not getting reelected, even though he has this quote unquote incumbency advantage. So a third candidate is running, and it's Aaron Burr, famous for shooting Alexander Hamilton.
Right.
Jefferson and Burr actually tie in electoral votes. And because they've tied in electoral votes, at this time, the way that a tie was supposed to be broken was by letting the House vote. And they voted 35 times and tied every single time. 35 tie-breaking votes they had. Okay. So the reason that this is featured in the Hamilton musical is because after the 35th special election tie-breaking vote in the House, Alexander Hamilton came forward and said, look, I hate them both. Okay. Like neither one of them is my friend, but at least Thomas Jefferson has strong opinions and we know what he's about. Aaron Burr has been riding the fence and just kissing babies like since the very beginning. And so I would vote for Thomas Jefferson because I at least know what I'm voting for. And at that point, the election was decided.
That's great. Do you remember the commercial? This is me showing my age here. There's a commercial for milk.
Oh my God, the bullet. Yes. Yes. I
don't know. All I remember is it's a commercial for milk and there's a guy who's sitting like I think he's in like an old history museum or something, and he has peanut butter in it. He's eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he has peanut butter in his mouth, and he knows the answer to the radio show question. And he's like, it's Aaron Burr, but he can't say it because he's got peanut butter stuck in his mouth.
Yes. Okay.
And
so
if he had milk, he could call.
Yeah, he's like a historian or a museum curator or something, and he's sitting in this Hamilton versus Burr dual museum, and it's got the gun, it's got the bullet, it's got pictures of both, and he's eating a peanut butter sandwich listening to the radio, and they're like, now for $1 million, who can call in and say who shot Alexander Hamilton? And he's like, yes.
I still play that commercial in my head. I can still see him in the chair. I can see his eyes get wide. I can see all of that with like the painting behind him, right? He's got the painting behind him in the chair. Like he's sitting in a chair. Yes. And he's like knocking things over trying to find some milk, and for whatever reason, I forget what the reason is, but there's no milk in the glass.
Right. He's like pouring it and it won't come out. Yeah.
And there's nothing left. Yeah.
That's funny.
And then someone else calls in right when he still tries to call and he can't do it. Anyway, I always think of that, and that's the reason that I remembered even before Hamilton came out that I knew who shot Alexander Hamilton because of that commercial of all the stupid reasons to remember.
That was funny.
Oh man.
So
actually, did you know that's also the theory behind why Sesame Street would have those little breaks in the Muppet content that they were doing?
No.
Because the creator of Sesame Street, what is his name?
Jim Henson?
Thank you. Jim Henson knew that kids learned from commercials, so if he could turn learning into like songs and stuff, kids would copy it. So that's why you'd have like the little Muppet thing, and then you'd have a break that would be some sort of cartoon and song. But that
is so interesting.
Anyway. See, commercials teach you things, like
who shot Alexander Hamilton,
and Nationwide's on your side. But again, we're not sponsored.
There you go. I have another election story for you.
Okay, tell me.
We are going to talk about the Bradenton Beach mayoral election of 2015.
Okay. Where is this place?
Florida. Oh. So already you know it's going to be good.
Florida be Florida.
Right. Okay, so this is William Sheeran versus Jack Clark. Sheeran was mayor, but he lost a recall election. And for those of you who need a little refresher, a recall election is when the populace decides to vote someone out of office before their term is over. Okay.
Go watch Parks and Rec.
You know.
See it happen to us. They know. Yes.
So Jack Clark, who was vice mayor at that point, becomes mayor. Now, in the next election, Sheeran runs again against Clark, and they tie.
Okay.
And the way that they break the tie, I'm not even kidding you, is they draw cards. And Sharon draws a 10 of clubs, and Clark draws the ace of clubs. And so he becomes the next mayor of Bradenton Beach.
Oh my God.
And if I got the names wrong about who actually wins, that's not important. Sorry. Remember, we're not here for facts. I just think it's hilarious that the entire mayoral election was determined on who drew a higher card.
Can you imagine a voter in that area? You'd be like, are you kidding
Like,
me
why
right
did
now?
I even
Seriously,
go to the
this is how you're
polls?
doing it. Right. Why did I even go to the polls? Like, let's just all go to Vegas and decide it on a game. Like, I don't know. It's just, that's insane. That's absolutely nuts. Oh, goodness. Did you ever watch the HBO special or the HBO like miniseries that they did on John Adams?
Okay, that's part of the reason why I named Abigail Abigail.
Because it was such a good...
Oh, I have the whole thing on DVD if you want to borrow it. I
might have to.
loved it so much.
good.
And Laura
Oh,
Linney
so good.
killed it as Abigail. And just
She was
the way they really
amazing.
highlight her role in history, it made me want to dig in even more. And after I read more about her and I saw that John writes to her and calls her his Diana, I was like, okay, perfect. Abigail Diana, here we go. That's her name.
Yeah, it's...
Oh,
yeah,
wait, I
it was
wasn't pregnant
so
at that
good.
time. It was just a name I already picked out for my child.
It was such a good special, and if anyone has the opportunity to watch it, even now, like if they put it back out there as like an on-demand sort of thing, you should watch it because it's really, really good. It's Paul Giamatti as John Adams and Laura Linney as Abigail. He's awesome. Okay, so speaking of John Adams, he is very famous for his relationship with Abigail, but also his relationship with Thomas Jefferson, who you already mentioned. They were adversaries, completely different political ideologies,
Right.
And yet had to work together. They actually were friends later on, and they wrote letters back and forth to each other, which if you see John Adams, the show, you'll see that actually happening. And interestingly, they are two of three presidents who have died on the 4th of July. So John Adams and Thomas Jefferson died on the exact same day in the exact same year, July 4th, 1826. And the third is John Monroe, who died in 1831 on July 4th. So we've had three presidents die on July 4th.
That is crazy.
Isn't
That
that
is
weird?
nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess people like die every day, right? So it's like not, that happens, but like the fact that it's three presidents who die on the day that we, like, right, you know what I mean?
The day that we did not
All right.
declare independence, the day that we decided to sign the documents that we declared independence.
The day that John Hancock finally got around to signing the document. All right. Well, I have some bonus.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, the widest state,
Okay.
like from east to west, is not the one you think it is.
It's got to be Texas, because I know that the distance across Texas is more than the distance from either border of Texas to the ocean.
It's Hawaii.
Psh!
I'm probably dead wrong about this, but my understanding is that it's Hawaii.
Well, that totally makes sense. It's like a lot of islands. It's an
Mhm.
archipelago.
Yeah. It is an archipelago.
It is the only state that is an archipelago, but not the only one that includes one.
Now, you did a good job mentioning Texas. Texas also has its own archipelago on the Gulf Coast, interestingly enough. But Texas is huge, right? We've talked about this before. I have driven across the state of Texas, not across the entire state, but across Texas from Austin. I was driving up to Denver, Colorado, and it was a 14-hour drive, and 11 of those hours were in Texas. And that's from Austin, which is like considered to be central Texas, right? It's not geographically central Texas, but it's considered to be central Texas. Texas is huge.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Alaska, it is. Alaska is more than twice the size of Texas.
Oh my gosh. Alaska is so big. Do you know they have the longest coastline of any state?
That doesn't surprise
But
me.
even Alaska,
given
but
all the
even
islands
Hawaii.
Plus, yes. Given all the islands plus the peninsula that hangs off the edge, I'm not surprised by that. It's like Canada being the country in the world with the most coastline.
Right.
Because of all the islands. right? Crazy. Okay. The last fun fact I have. The geographic center of the United States. So picture the United States in your head.
I'm thinking of it. I have
Where do you
Maine.
think
I
it
have
is?
Florida. I see Alaska. I'm looking at Hawaii right now. We got a little California
Okay.
going on. I got some pictures of where the corners are.
Mm-hmm. Geographic center of the United States is in South Dakota, of all places. Can you even? Like, what? Because of where Alaska and Hawaii are in relation to the continental United States, it's in South Dakota.
That is hilarious.
Which is like so
That is,
far
like,
north.
not-
like you
yeah.
don't. Right. Yeah. It's a completely different world up there compared to where we are now. But yeah, it's South Dakota.
I mean, I'm sure you've heard
I
this,
agree.
but like North Dakota and South Dakota are like not friends because South Dakota has tourism and North Dakota doesn't. Do you know this? Like Mount Rushmore, people go there. And like, what is in North Dakota?
Do you remember the commercial for South Dakota? There's a tourist commercial. It's like, great faces, great places, South Dakota. And it was like on in the middle of the day. Like you'd be watching Price is Right and then like a South Dakota. It was like the pure Michigan commercials.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I
they
do
would just
not
come
remember
on,
the
and
South
it would-
Dakota commercial.
Oh, I totally remember this song. Someone out there has to remember because I know I'm not crazy. I didn't just make that
Oh,
up.
I believe that it exists.
would, right?
But I just
Right,
think
it
it's
totally
hilarious.
exists.
Like,
It's hysterical. And also me singing over I am a singer in a past life, but me singing for commercial stuff that was vulnerable. that was a moment of vulnerability here.
I do have
and I
a
wasn't
fact.
actually really singing. I was forcing it out.
I
I'm
do
sorry?
have a fact about North Dakota.
I'd love to hear
North
it.
Dakota. I can't remember if it's North Dakota State or University of North Dakota, but they house the world's premier study of deep sea pathology.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
excuse
gonna
me.
need you to walk me through
Yes,
this.
deep sea parasitology, not pathology. I don't know if you know this, but North Dakota doesn't touch the ocean.
No, I did know that. That's why I need you to walk me
Right?
through what's happening.
So
right
my
now.
favorite
I'm
professor
very
in college, I really enjoyed his class, and I bonded with him. And at the end of the class, he told us that he was leaving because he is a specialist in deep sea parasitology, and he is going to the #1 place to study it, University of North Dakota. And we all had so many questions,
Yeah, I have a lot.
or maybe just one: how?
Oh my gosh, I don't even understand. Like,
Right?
what? Okay, sure. Why not? Whatever you say. And not you.
No.
personally, But like, I'm
North
just
Dakota.
Right. Whatever.
Or
you
deep sea
say, North Dakota.
parasitologists.
Right. Those are fun facts about the United States. We could do more. You probably don't want us to.
Oh,
and
I have one
who
more.
knows how factual these are. Oh, you
Yes.
do? Yay.
The last fact I have about the United States is 3,000 people in the United States have listened to our show, and even more can if you rate, review, subscribe.
I love that. What a great fact. I'm into it. We're in all the places, so just go find us there. We're in all the places for now. Like, Lord only knows.
The places
if-
like South Dakota,
know.
North Dakota, 4 corners where you can stand in 4 states at once. Alaska and
Yes, you
Hawaii,
can.
because
That's-
they are also states. Okay, make good choices.
Yeah. And use your gift cards, and hopefully you're voting. And if you did, thank you. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.